welcome to our second episode of ThinkCast. Today, we're going to be doing more storytelling because everybody has a story worth telling and stories that are worth listening to. And today, I am super grateful for this lady that is on the screen with us, Jill. This is Jill McNamee. She is a real estate agent over in kind of the Hudson, St. Croix Valley area of Wisconsin, the western part of Wisconsin. And Jill has this unique and wonderful superpower, and it is the way that Jill connects with people. And she connects with people not for any purpose other than just learning about them. And she has created something that's absolutely amazing and thriving with a community that she has built. And Jill has a wonderful story for anybody that is sitting there thinking, you know what, I love people and I want to create a community, and these are some things that I want to do. And I don't think that this has ever been more important than it is today because of the way that we are seeing things transform with AI and the authenticity that we hold in the way that we can connect with each other, one to one as humans is a superpower. And it is also helping us, stand out and keep that human side and that human touch together. So, Jill, you might not know this, but the first time that I had I had exposure to you or interaction with you was in a training class. And you actually sent me a little gift to my office afterwards, and it was like handmade soap that you had because you were and it was so cute, and it was amazing soap. It
Thank
smelled
you.
good. It was amazing, but you kind of coined yourself. Was it the soap lady? Is that
Yeah.
the soap lady?
I well, I still am the soap
You
lady.
still
In
are the
fact,
soap
I
lady?
have soap in my office here because anytime I go to meet someone for coffee, they're always getting either soap or truffles. So I always try to remember to bring a gift. But yeah, it's just a fun hobby of mine, and I love sharing it. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. I guess it made you remember me.
Well, I did remember you. I started following you after that, and then we started bumping into each other with business and have done some work together in the
Mhm.
past and continue to, I think admire each other from afar and
For
bounce
sure.
ideas off of each other, when they come up. But I have just been an admirer of these groups that you've created. You stay busy, don't you? You have some
Yeah,
amazing groups.
I do stay busy for sure. There's no question there. Yeah.
So that's
But
that's
I mean, I honestly think like you said when you said superpower, like we're all good at different things. And, yeah, I could sit on the phone and cold call all day, but I'd rather be out connecting with people. And it's just one thing that I love to do. And so, yeah.
so you have taken the approach to build your business off of relationships. Is that correct?
Hmm.
So rather than, sending out a newsletter that's going into a bunch of empty email boxes, which you still might do, right? I mean,
Yeah, I do still, I still
they'll,
do that, but it's not the bulk of what I do for sure.
right. So, but you've kind of built this, you have a couple different things, right? You have
Mhm.
kind of a real estate focused group that is pretty active, but then you also have one that's regional and super specific to the area that you're doing or
Yeah.
that you live in and that you work in. And do you want to talk a little bit about like how you got that idea
Yep.
and like where did that come from, and talk a little bit about how you grew the group and the value that's there, and how it keeps growing and all of those amazing
Yeah.
things.
Well, I got into real estate in 2008, and a lot of agents were actually leaving the business at that time. And I knew that as a new agent, my phone wasn't going to magically ring. And so I thought, I don't want people to think of me as that icky, spammy, pushy realtor. I wanted to show up in a way when I was meeting new people that brought them value. And so back in 2008, there wasn't a different networking group on every corner like there is today. You had BNI, and pretty much, you know, BNI was kind of all
The
there
thing.
was. We
Yeah.
did actually have a women's group in Hudson at the time called PWN. It was Professional Women's Network. But there was already a realtor that had been going to that group forever. And I knew the realtor, she worked in my area. And I thought, she's already built the relationships there. I didn't want to step on her toes, So I thought, there's always enough sunshine for everyone. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm just going to start my own group. And so I started a second group called St. Croix Valley Girls. And the reason I named it that is because my county is St. Croix County. We're known as the St. Croix Valley because we're right by the river. So I'm like, okay, St. Croix Valley Girls, it's a women's group. And in the beginning, I was going to do a co-ed group, but the men weren't showing up.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, if you're saying you want to do this, but you don't show up, like I'm just gonna have it be a women's group then. So anyway, it turned into a women's group, but the thing that I talk about all the time is how you show up when you're building something like that, because I'm actually digging for it right now because I want to show you. I just I created this little card. I've had this postcard for 18 years since I started the group.
Oh my
All it
gosh.
is it talks about, where the group meets, how much it costs, all of that, and then our mission is on the back. I printed this postcard before the first meeting, and I went and hit the pavement, and I just went anywhere and everywhere in Hudson that I thought might have a woman who might be interested in coming to my meeting. And what the group did for me was allowed me to show up in a way where I was offering value right out the gate.
I love
Like,
that.
there was no icky, like, hey, I want a referral. There was none of it was, hey, I just wanted to stop in and introduce myself. My name is Jill. I'm a local realtor in town, and I have this amazing group called St. Croix Valley Girls. I think you might like to check it out. Do you want me to send you an email invite? And, the thing that, we all learn as realtors is start building your email list, right? Like, that's the first thing you learn coming out of real estate school is how fast can you build an email list. And I was like, people were just throwing their emails at me. I'm like, oh, this is working. And then, once we had our first meeting, I had six people at the first meeting. They all started inviting friends. And keep in mind, this was 2008, so this was prior to social media. There was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. There was me with my little postcard. And so it took some getting going, but I've never paid for advertising or marketing or anything like that. And of course, now it's much easier with social media. But that was the beginning of me sort of getting out into my community because the people I met through St. Croix Valley Girls then were the ones, that I do my business partnerships with, like my free coffee coupon, my free pizza coupon, things like that. It led to me creating all these other programs that were really hyper local. So, yeah, so that's kind of how all that started, was because I needed a way to get in front of people that was not, salesy.
Right.
Um, and then for follow up, once they came to the meeting, I would go meet them for coffee. And you can see on my wall, there's a little above my lamp there, it says Jill's Java House. And I joke about it though, because when I was a new agent, I had this cubicle. It didn't even have a door. It was all I could afford. And my coworkers used to make fun of me that, oh, Jill's out for coffee again. Where's Jill? Oh, she's having coffee. They were making fun of me. And I came back one day from having coffee and they had a little sign up sheet and somebody had made a clip art sign that said Jill's Java House. Well, I framed it
I love it.
because it's my reminder that I literally built a successful real estate business one coffee appointment at a time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and it, that frame has come with me to every office I've been in. It's always hanging, where I can see it every day. And, even though it's just a computer generated piece of clip art, I put it in a cute frame because it's really my reminder. It's like, yeah, Jill, you can do the hard things. Because
Right?
in 2008, like, everybody was in a short sale situation. It was just a really tough, kind of gnarly time to get into real estate,
Right.
you
But
know?
look, you're still here. And
Yeah.
getting in during the hard times teaches you to be unique, when you go out there. I think
Mhm.
I had heard once that there's close to 25,000 licensed agents throughout the state of Wisconsin. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all here because they can live in another state and just be licensed here. However,
Mhm.
when you're trying to stand out in a field that is
Right.
flooded with a lot of people, it was really intuitive of you to say, you know what? I am going to go out and make the connections with people and,
Mm.
create a name for myself. And
Mhm.
to approach it not from, I'm a real estate agent. I want to get a bunch of people together. And by the way, do you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or
Yeah.
invest in real estate? It wasn't about that. It was literally, hey, I want to come into the community. I want to meet the people that are in the community. I want, to give an opportunity for people to get together in the community and constantly
Mhm.
finding ways to give back. And I
Yeah.
think that's where that value driven, comes along with your personality is a big part of that too, Jill. I
Mhm.
mean, I can tell immediately you believe in what you're doing and it comes from a super, super authentic place inside of you. So it's not forced, it's
Mhm.
not,
Right.
and I think that's probably why you became magnetic and started attracting the people to come. And it's
Right.
so smart
Yeah.
because
Well, I think so much of it, and you kind of hit the nail on the head when you were opening up your talk here with the world of like, how do you stand out? And with AI, like what's real and what's not real. And I think when you show up, and this is like what I teach the agents that I'm coaching and mentoring now, it's like you have to show up as a human first and a realtor second. The minute you put the realtor before the human part, they sense it, and you've all of a sudden become that icky realtor that no one wants to spend time with.
right.
And so I think that's a really important piece of how you show up in the world is like you have to come with value and ask yourself like how can I add value to this person? And if you just have that mindset going in,
It
it
makes
just works out.
it makes a huge difference. And I
Hmm.
I was recently working with someone and we came up with this mantra. You're not who you are and you're not who you build or what you build.
Hmm.
You're actually both. Because,
Hmm.
if and I think that for anybody that's listening that's, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, trying to like whether you're a hairstylist or tattoo artist or you're
Right.
an insurance agent or a real estate agent, mortgage lender, when you really dial into who you are on an authentic level and identify like where your values are, nobody can repeat who you are because you're in that most authentic piece and or you're in that really sacred place, but you're also now showing a side of you that is going to show up like all the time. So you're not like, all sunshine and rainbows and then grumpy Jill. Like
Right.
Jill is Jill all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
Uh-huh.
what you see is what you're going to get. And
Yeah.
I believe that that had a lot in your building of your St. Croix Valleys group. And the other thing that I loved is that if you would have sat and tried to create all the formalities and try to identify, all these things that you may or may not need, you probably would have gotten to the point where you never actually even went out and handed out the postcards, right?
Hmm.
So
Oh,
I think
totally.
there's something so like pure and simple about the way that you did this, Jill, that you just did it. It doesn't sound like you overthought it super
No,
hard.
I didn't. Well, and what's so interesting is I didn't walk into their store and say, "Hi, my name is Jill, and I'm starting this women's networking group. I'm sure it's going to be great." I walked in there and I'm like, "This is what I have, and you're going to love it." I walked in with confidence, like I already had it. And so that's the piece, that's the how you show up with confidence is you sort of what you're imagining in your mind is what you bring about. And my St. Croix Valley Girls was successful in the very beginning because I showed up like I already had it. And it made people, I was giving off the energy that was powerful because I had confidence around it. Where if I would have walked in there and been like, oh, yeah, I'm starting this networking group and, we're going to meet the first Wednesday of the month and whatever, like people would have been like,
Yeah,
come back when you actually have something to invite me to. Do you know what
right,
I'm saying? There's a
right.
difference in how you show up.
I love that. That is like
Mhm.
showing up with that. I don't want to say blind confidence, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
you knew you were committed. You knew you were going to make this
Mhm.
successful, no matter like,
Yeah.
and you truly felt that, or you truly thought that, and I believe the people truly felt that, and it's still
Yeah.
thriving, right? Like you said, 18 years, and
Hmm.
it is still thriving.
Yeah.
That is
Yep.
awesome.
It's been around 18. I know it's like my proudest. It's like my baby,
I
because
love it.
18 years is a long time. Well, and what's interesting is probably like 6 years after I started St. Croix Valley Girls, the original PWN group that was in my community for whatever reason stopped meeting and kind of fell apart. So St. Croix Valley Girls at that time was the only, other than BNI, was really the only networking that we had other than, chamber stuff. But
Sure. And
um
just to be clear to those that are watching and don't know what BNI is, it is a networking
yeah,
group that you pay a fee to belong to, and but it's
mm,
industry exclusive, right? Like
yes. Hmm.
only one real estate agent would be in there, and one of their sole purposes truly is to hand referrals out.
Yeah.
I don't want to say there's pressure, but there have been,
But there is kind of a little bit
there
of pressure.
there
Uh-huh.
is,
Yep.
you definitely come in, but there also, I mean, there's
Mhm.
value in creating those communities. And I think
Right.
the other thing that you did, Jill, and whether this was intentional or not, but you made a place that people feel like they belong. And I
Hmm.
think like that's the sense of a community, right? Like a place
Yeah.
that you feel that you belong. Like, you opened the doors, you made people feel welcome, you empowered them to invite more people to come. And when you do that, you're kind of like making you're putting all these other people to work because to build this bigger group, for it. But
Yeah.
it gives you some identity with it. Now, you do this annual event every year, don't you? Something with bubbles, your
Yeah, Baubles and Bubbles. Yes, it's a
bubbles and
jewelry
bubbles.
swap event that we have every year. Yeah, that started about 13 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, again, it was meant for my past clients and referral partners. And it's about half and half who attend. I cap it off at 100 attendees. Well,
Wow.
usually by the time my volunteers are there, it's usually around 125. But yeah, so the whole point of putting that together was just to have a fun night for, like I said, my past clients and referral partners. And, it was kind of a big excuse to have a party, really, but anytime I do like an event or a party like that, I always like to have a fundraiser, do like a fundraiser
Oh,
with
sure,
it.
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
awesome. So you have like a cause behind it. So,
Yeah,
and I think I always tell people that like event marketing is really, really powerful, but so is cause marketing because if people feel like they can go and do something that's fun and then there's a benefit to it, it's just kind of like a win-win, right? And
right.
that creates, some fun with that. So, um, St.
Yep.
St. Croix Valley Girls, it reminds me of those Sweet Valley High books. Like that's like when I hear the name of it, do you remember those Sweet Valley High books?
Oh, is it like a happenings book?
No, it was like when we like younger, like I think in like maybe junior high, I read the Sweet Valley Girl High. I'll have to find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh,
But
no.
it
Is it like
reminds
a Nancy Drew mystery or like a series
it's
of
like about
books?
girl. Yeah, it's a series of books in high
Oh,
school. I'll find it
yeah,
to you and send it over. So,
yeah.
but it's kind of fun. But I think that having this group is amazing, but this isn't the only group that you have, correct? You have a whole nother
Yeah,
group.
well, yeah, well, I have a realtor group that's online for realtors, called Real Estate Ramp Up that I started I think I started it 2 years ago, and just a place to, and this is where, you and I met, I think when I was in Appleton teaching a real estate class at one of
Yeah,
the offices. Is that where we met? But,
yeah,
so I'm really passionate about like sharing with newer agents on like, how to be successful in real estate. And so I started that Facebook group. So I have that group, and that's strictly for realtors or agents who want to participate in that. And then I have a couple other social media groups that are more local because I realized once I had St. Croix Valley Girls, it kind of dawned on me like 6 years ago that I didn't have a Facebook group for it. And I thought, well, there's probably a lot of women business professionals in the area who don't even know St. Croix Valley Girls exists.
sure.
And so I started a Facebook group called Women Business Owners of the St. Croix Valley, or Business Professionals of the St. Croix Valley. And it has a really long name. And many people have said, maybe you should shorten the name or whatever. But like, I want you, if you're going to join the group, to know where the group is located, who's in the group. It's women professional. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I understand that the group name is really long, but I wanted it to sort of be an explainer on what the group's about. Because I
sure.
didn't want a bunch of like people from California in the group. It
Right,
would have been, I
right.
wanted to curate a group of local women business professionals. And the fun part about that group is there's so many people that I met in that group that I've never even met in person. And I try to reach out and like use that group as a way to meet new people. But I've gotten a lot of real estate business from that group from people I've never met in person.
Sure.
I just run the group, and some of them have come to St. Croix Valley Girls, and others haven't, but I'm trying to have it be like a supportive group, have them have some education, learn some things. And so we're trying some different stuff in that group, but there's about probably 1,600 women, local women in that group.
That's great.
Yeah, so social media nowadays it makes it really easy to connect with people, I feel
Right.
like.
Well,
Uh-huh.
it does. And, I think I use social media a lot. I, teach and support a lot of stuff with social media. I think it's a way that people can really learn who you are.
Uh,
And, but you also have to try to be authentic in that as well. So,
yeah.
it's like, don't, and I know that there's a lot of people out there where their life looks perfect, like
Uh-huh.
out on social media, but they're a hot mess. And
Yeah,
I think we all have a little bit of, messiness that, that we don't necessarily get vulnerable and put out there, but sometimes we do. But I have also noticed something that you've been doing lately, Jill, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this because from a business standpoint, I'm actually really curious. You've
mhm.
been doing a lot of videos and tracking what those videos are doing for
Yes,
you.
I
And
have.
you've seen like some of the numbers you are putting up are
It's
like,
insane.
and it's all organic, right? It's just
Yeah,
Jill
all
showing up.
organic.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any paid ads.
I
Yeah.
mean, we're like what you're getting like over 200,000 views on some stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I think I have my first video that's gonna hit 1 million. So I'm
Yay.
excited about that. And it was actually the first video that I did of this style, but I've been trying to find my sort of video voice. And a year and a half ago, I kind of was going through like a little bit of a rough time, and I had switched brokerages, and I kind of was in this funk, and I'm like, I knew I needed to do more video. I was showing up pretty regularly on social media, but I was not doing video. So I hired a video coach. I work with a gal who has a group coaching program that I joined. And I'm like, back then, a year and a half ago, I didn't even know how to do an Instagram post. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I'm all about if I need to learn how to do something, I need to find somebody who's doing what I want to do, and then I need to learn from them. And so I joined her program, and now, like I said, she's been telling me like the algorithm doesn't know who you are yet.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for a year and a half. What's going on? Why am I not getting business? Whatever. And she's like, well, for one, you're not doing it consistent. You're not doing it every day. And then the other piece of that is the algorithm is confused because one day I'll show up and I'll do like a talking head style video, like where you have your
Yeah.
camera, whatever, and you talk to the camera. Then the next day, I'll do a home tour. I was kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and was waiting to see what sticked and or what stuck. And I don't know what happened. I saw someone had done a video where they're just doing something random in the background, and then they put words on the screen and a big caption. And I'm like, okay, I like that I don't have to talk on camera. So I'm going to try that. And that's the first video that's going to hit 1 million. It's at like 900. I think it's at like 925,000 views right now on Instagram. So that is the other thing is, if you're using Instagram and Facebook, then you're kind of getting double duty. And um, but again, like I think about that and I go, okay, I'm 60. How long would it take me to call 925,000 people and talk to them about real estate? I'd be dead by the time I called.
You would definitely have a sore throat and you would have no sleep and
Yeah.
like and but you're right. And let me ask you, Jill, like I've run into this with people that I've worked with or coached. Um, I don't know what to say. I hate my voice on camera. I don't like the way that I look. Like why would people wanna watch me? You get a little imposter syndrome. Like,
Totally.
what do you like? Tell me a little bit about how you kind of overcame some of that, because I'm sure you came out confident, but we all have those little voices in our
Oh,
head
I
that are
still
like,
have it every
you're
day.
like, shut up.
Uh-huh.
Like, shut up. But tell me how you kind of got over that a little bit.
Well, okay. So at first, I just knew that if I wanted what I wanted, I knew I had to get over myself. And I have another mentor that says, by you not sharing your story, like because I don't like how I look or I don't like how I sound or I'm nervous or whatever, he says you're being selfish because the person on the other end of the screen might have needed your message today.
Hmm. And
And the
that
minute
clicked for you, didn't it?
it clicked for me. And not only that, when I saw I have a really good graphic. It's like 5 slides of, 100 people saw my video, 1,000 people saw my video, 10,000 people saw, and then they show the stadium of, 50,000 people saw your video. That clicked for me. I'm like, okay, there's no way I could ever, because I'm getting right now, if I pull up my Facebook dashboard, I'm getting about 375,000 views every month on my content. Like, there's just no way I could get my message out to that many people by phone.
Right?
There's just no way. And the other part of it is, even if I could, I'd be like calling them with video. They're getting the real authentic me. So like at 4 o'clock today, I'm going to meet with a seller who doesn't know me, but oftentimes like I'll show up at the door and they'll be like, "Oh, I feel like I already know you because I see you all over social media."
That's so true. Like I walked
Uh-huh.
into a gas station, a local gas station here, and a lady recognized who I was and was like, "Oh, I see you on your social media." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But
Uh-huh.
and it's not like a fame type thing. What it is it's connecting with your digital audience on a consistent
Yeah.
basis. And you are right. I mean, one of the biggest values that you get with social media is, when you put your face and your voice on camera and you can start seeing your mannerisms and you're constantly showing up authentically that way, people do connect with you more than they would, some Canva post that has
Right.
probably a great amount of content on there, but it doesn't connect like video connects. And
Mhm.
I would say the same thing. I would say the next thing that I see in my business is having like authentic photos that you're using. If you're going down the photography route, how can you show up and have authenticity in your photos versus using a
Right.
bunch of stock photos. I
Yeah.
always laugh. I have a marketing class that I've taught around branding, and I'm like, okay, realtors, don't ever use this photo. And I'm going to actually swipe that in so you guys can see this photo. But if I explained it to you, it's the blue house that has the wet driveway, and this photo is like used over and over again. I just
So
noticed it at
funny.
Costco the other day. There's no authenticity in that, right? But
Yeah.
you start using, you start showing up yourself and putting yourself out there more, you get it. But
Mhm.
video continues to be such a big value. And part of the value is too that the algorithms favor it because, and I don't know if you know this, and maybe you probably do, but the reason that they put emphasis on video is because they can tell that when someone starts watching a video on their platform, they're likely to stay on that platform longer. So
Longer.
because they're
Uh-huh.
consuming that content. And
Yeah.
that's what all social medias want. They want their audience. They don't want you to go to TikTok and watch Jill's video. They want you to stay on Facebook
Yeah.
or Instagram, right? They don't want you going to YouTube. YouTube doesn't want you going to Facebook,
Right.
so you could, and I don't know if this is something that you do, create the video once and broadcast it out to,
Yeah, that's
different
what I pretty
platforms.
much do. I'm just not doing as much on TikTok because like Instagram and Facebook are hooked together. It does it automatically, and you have to do it separately a third time unless you have a tool that does it for you, which I don't yet. But yeah, so I'm just focusing on Instagram and Facebook right now. But the other piece of that is I think that like they want to get to know the real Jill. Like they want to know, like, do my values line up with her? What might it be like to work with her? And, people will say all the time, no one wants to see what I ate for dinner. They just don't care. They actually do care.
They do.
They want to know how am I spending my weekends? Anytime I post about my grandkids, like that, those are the types of posts that people love the most. And that
Right.
gives them a glimpse of the non-realtor side of Jill,
The human side.
where because it's the human side, like you just said. Yeah. So I think that's super important. And that is, the one thing about social media that I really like is that I feel like they get to know me a little bit before I show up at the door.
Right.
So
And
their expectation is different then.
And I think that's, also that getting to know you is, why they feel like they know you already before you're arriving. And now you can go into conversations about them instead of conversations about yourself, right?
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Jill. I do this and
Right.
I'm amazing at this and this and this. But
Yeah.
realistically, hi, I'm Jill. Let's talk about what your real estate goals are. Now you
Yeah.
can turn around and talk with them, and you've let your social media that you put out there already sell
Do the
them enough to
work.
give you a call, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is where you're not just talking the talk, you're actually walking it. They see you,
Mhm.
they're active, and
Right.
that's going to give them a different standpoint with that. So there's like those numbers though. I was watching your numbers. I'm like, oh wow, like
Well,
that's hard to do.
yeah, well, I did a challenge. It all started with my other person that I'm working with who's helping me build out the coaching side of my business. She decided to do a challenge for 30 days and see if she could post 10 times a day for 30 days as kind of an experiment. And, I'm like, okay, you're not going to throw the gauntlet down on me. And like, I'm joining you. If you're doing this, I want to see if I can do it. And, it was almost like she was challenging me. And so
Ooh,
I'm like, yeah, I'm totally game for that. And again, when I saw what was happening and tracking the numbers each day and how it would just, it kept like duplicating or what is the word that I'm looking for? It compounding on itself. And I'm like, I don't even believe what I'm seeing here. And then it was kind of that light bulb moment to be like, well, I was trying to, how you set your thermostat? And when I did the 10 posts a day, I'm like, well, this is kind of my new normal. As
got it.
long as I'm writing down like all my posts every day, like, I just keep track in a little notebook like this. You can see, here's today, I have 3 more posts to do today.
So you're keeping
Um,
it super simple, right? You're not
oh, it's
you're like
super simple. It's
you're
a
not
note.
over you're not over complicating it,
No,
right?
it's a notebook that I carry at the beginning of every day. I write 1 through 10, and then as I do my posts, I just start filling them in. And then by the time I go to bed at night, I just make sure that they're all filled in. And
Look at
I mean,
you're that's
it's pretty
awesome.
archaic, but here's what I will say is the key of how I've been able to stick with it is the tracking.
Mm,
Because 10 is a lot. I'm not going to remember. It's like when you're tracking your food. If you wait till the end of the night before you go to bed to track your food, you're like, oh crap, what did I eat today?
I
I
forgot I
can't
ate a banana
remember. You
at
think
10
you're gonna
o'clock.
think you're gonna remember and you're not gonna remember.
Right.
So this is the same way. I'm really intentional about when I put something out on social media, I'm writing it down right away.
Oh, I love
And
that.
and I'm a checklist person if I can check something off. So it gives me really good satisfaction to be able to write something on this notepad and feel like I'm one less that I have to do before the
One
end of the
one less. Well, and psychologically, there is a tie to being able to check something off a list,
day.
and
Uh-huh.
it ties into a motivation factor because you feel like you're actually accomplishing something.
Yeah.
Just curious, was this like a Grant Cardone 10X type thing, or was it just not meant to be that?
No,
No,
this was no, the gal that are you talking about the program that I did?
the challenge with posting
Oh
10
no,
times a day.
that was her name's Megan Huber, and she's helping me with the coaching side of my business, like how to she's basically helping me get clients for coaching
Got
in a
it.
Facebook group.
Got
So
it.
like her model is like if you want to start a coaching business, she will help you get an active Facebook group growing and engaged, and then, help you sell offers into the
Got
group
it.
for coaching. So that's who that was. No. And, interestingly, both the video coach and Megan, the two people that I'm working with, I found them on social media.
Of course you
And
did.
I reached out to them and said, "Hey, do you have a program? I like what you're doing. I've been following you for a while." I kind of was like, they've got to have a program, you
Sure.
know. And so anyway, that's how I found both those people. But yeah, so because to me,
Wow.
it's like, well, I want to have teaching me who if they have it all together, they're
Right.
doing what I'm trying to do. That's who I need to be learning from.
Jill, like kind of wrapping things up because we probably could sit and talk forever and ever.
Hmm.
One of my key things that I see about you that like kind of like overarching is that you keep things simple. Like
Yes.
you really don't overcomplicate things in you're very execution driven. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Uh-huh.
Where I think that getting stuck in the weeds of you know, overthinking and, overcomplicating things. Like you're just pulling your notebook out and saying, "Hey, I got to post something 10 times today and
Uh-huh.
do." And you've seen value from that. I have to
Yeah.
go out and I'm going to print a postcard and go tell everybody about this amazing group. You know, 18 years later, it's still thriving.
Uh-huh.
You've kept it simple and something that you can execute on, rather rapidly.
Right.
And as a result, you've built relationships that I'm sure have built a lot of friendships
Oh,
out of that
yeah.
too.
So, yeah.
I can
Mm.
imagine your social circle really grew
Yeah, I've been really
as
blessed.
well. And
Mm.
that's a huge part of what gives us fulfillment as humans, right? Is having that social connection.
For
And
sure.
you've tied it back to the local piece, which I think is huge. Everyone likes something that's hyper local.
Hmm.
And you just continue to you continue to grow. Do you have any big plans for 2026 that you want to share, or are you still just
Yeah, I mean, no, other than, I'm working on getting my coaching going. I launched that in February, coaching for realtors. Because as I said earlier, I am 60 and I still am out selling houses, every single day. So, I'm really finding that I'm passionate about like teaching and helping others. And, so that's sort of the direction that I'm moving my business. Obviously, I'll continue to sell, and you see my partner just walked out the door. My son has been my business partner for the last 13 years. So of course he'll carry on the real estate piece of it, but yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna do my thing and continue to sell and continue teaching and
Jill?
sharing with people. And
I feel like you have fun every day. I
oh,
feel
I
like
do.
I feel like you I feel like you I know everybody has bad days and and I call them and
Uh-huh.
sometimes bad seasons, right?
Yep.
Um, but you for the most part are just like overly optimistic and
Mhm.
in a really good way and just
Yep.
always looking at the sunny side of things. And
Right.
I think that there's a lot to learn from that disposition and how you take that in you and interject that into your business, and you're showing up and showing other people how things can be done, and I think that's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely.
I mean, I have my days too. Sometimes I'll show up and my partner back here will say, well, maybe it's time for you to sit down and write a list of things you're grateful for. So, like, he'll remind me too. That's the beauty of, like, not everybody has perfect days, but, we just keep forging ahead
Right.
and
Jill,
know it's
how can
going to come.
people where can people find you? Like where's your favorite, like what's your
Um,
handles and stuff?
Well, okay, so on Facebook, I'm just Jill McNamee. I'm using my creator account, which is my personal account, so just Jill McNamee. On Instagram, I'm at McNamee Jill for some strange reason. I don't know how to change that. And then if you're an agent and you're interested in checking out my real estate ramp up Facebook group, you can find me there. And I give away all my free tips and tricks and so if you're a realtor, there's a lot of value there for free. So hop in
Awesome.
there and check it out.
Awesome. Jill, honestly, I learn something from you every time that we chat. And I, like I said, I'm always kind of watching you from afar. I was super interested to talk about the social media stuff. And I
Uh,
am so glad that you're still the soap lady. Like, don't lose that. That is
yeah,
so
it's
awesome.
well, that's how I relax. Like I make jewelry and I make soap and truffles and that's
Truffles.
relaxing.
Those
Yeah, I know.
I've I've seen your truffle days. You've posted those on your social. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, that's a lot of work, but it looks so
Yeah,
yummy. It looks so
it's
great.
super fun. It's
Yeah,
super.
that's amazing. Well, Jill, again, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us your story. You've got an amazing thing going, so much energy, and it has been just super fun to watch you continue to do your thing. And I love how people focused and community focused you are, and I think there's a lot of takeaways from that. So,
Thank you. Thanks
like.
for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And like I said, everybody has a story worth telling, which Jill clearly did, and a story worth listening to. And I hope that you took away a lot of nuggets from Jill. So much value here. Go check her social media stuff out, follow her, see what she's doing. And I'm sure if you have any questions, she'll be more than happy to answer on one of her social platforms. Just send her a message because she's always very responded. So, again, thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for our guest for next week. So excited about that one. And please, if you have anyone that you would like to tell a story, if you're interested in telling a story, reach out. We would love to talk with you.